everybody, and welcome to another Taubmans live colour advice session. My name is Fiona, I'm the Taubmans colour specialist, and we are here this evening to talk all things projects, product and colour. So for those that are joining us for the very first time, I welcome you to our session, and I'll let you know how it rolls basically, if you like. So for the first half an hour, I'll be in front of the camera and we'll be streaming live, and it is a fantastic opportunity for you to pop any questions that you do have into our feed. Look, as I said, we can help you with assistance if you're embarking on a project, you'd like some tips. We can certainly help you with product. We have an amazing, wonderful portfolio of products which have been designed to protect and beautify your space, and we can help you with colour. So we've got everything here this evening. So for the first half an hour, we're live in front of the camera. Great opportunity for you to pop questions into the feed. If you do have images though, if you can hold off popping them into our feed until we finish streaming. The reason being, unfortunately, while we're streaming live, it's impossible for you to put any images into the feed. I mean, you can certainly send them to us via DM, etc., and I'll be very happy to look at them. I understand the importance of viewing images so that I can help you to, bring your vision, etc., to life, and it gives me a better understanding of the space that we're talking about. So that's how the session rolls. So once we finish streaming, I usually sit back, we say for an extra half an hour, but sometimes it can be an hour or so, and continue helping to answer further questions for everybody. So happy to assist. So I'm going to let you know that also, and I've got my first question. Hi Janine, thanks for joining us, and I'll come straight to you in a moment. But what we usually do with our sessions is we, each and every week, so we generally here for Thursday evening, we go through our social media platforms and we look at all the recurring questions. So, there tends to be a lot of trends where people are wanting advice, and I can tell you the questions that have been loaded into for this evening that we've, obtained from all of our social media platforms, they're all around white. So we do tend to have, a love for white here in Australia, which is fantastic. And so, we've got lots of questions around how we can use white, etc., etc. So, but I'll kick it off with Janine to start off with. So thank you, Janine, for joining us this evening. So you're saying, hi, Fiona. Thank you so much for your help last week in selecting our exterior white paint for our new home. We've gone with your recommendation of Pebble Bay Quarter. Fantastic. That's awesome to hear. Thank you. I would love some advice for our interior white paint now. We are looking for a soft, warm white, slightly off white, but not cream or yellow. We like Taubmans Cradle White and also Dulux Natural White Quarter, but would love some suggestions. We have a light grey linen lounge. We'll be using the white in our kitchen with a Taubmans beige chalk coloured island and a beige bench top. Lots of blush beige, browns, whites, brush gold and chrome. Sounds beautiful. And light greys throughout the home. Sounds like an amazing space you are creating there, Janine. So if you're thinking about a white, so you've got Taubmans beige chalk, which is a fantastic colour. Now I'm just going to, I should know where it is because I only looked at it. I know we looked at it last week. We talked about this, but I think I'm going to have to revert to, oh, here we go. Beautiful tone here. Beige chalk for anybody that is joining us this evening. I love that, and I can see where you're going with this. So you've got that for your island. So you're wanting a soft, warm white, and you do like Cradle White and also Dulux Natural White, but would love some suggestions. Okay, so let's have a look. If you're wanting something soft, with a slight warmth to it. I'm just here having a look, everyone. So matching as we go. Yeah, Cradle White, Cradle White looks beautiful. They sing together. It looks fantastic. The other colour that you could, it's probably not quite as, Cradle White's got a very soft warmth to it, as we're talking about. And your beige chalk has got that element of warmth as well. You could look at cotton sheets, very similar to Cradle White, maybe not quite as warm, however, still a beautiful sort of airy softness about that tone. You could also, I wonder whether, And we're not wanting any yellow. Did I read that? Yeah, so no cream or yellow. Okay, I was looking at Princess Bling, but that may be too, maybe we won't go that way. Have you tried as well, and it's not really warm, it's more of a neutral sort of white. Have you had a look at crisp white? And I did talk about crisp white. I tend to talk about it every week when we're talking about whites. It's one of the most amazing whites. So you could do, you could also look at China Doll as well. Here we go. I'm just going to pop that up here and show you, Janine. It's really hard again, like we're lit up like a Christmas tree in here. And you're looking at, depends on the, you know, the pixelations in your screen as to how the color is going to look. But as we always talk about when we are talking around color and recommending color, it's really important to grab a sample pot and test it out for yourself. So I would have a look at China Doll. I think that that works wonderfully, as in, as does Tahira White. I mean, I know I can hold them up and you're probably looking going, I can't see much of a difference, but there's just that slight variation throughout. And then, as I was mentioning before, crisp white. Now, what makes crisp white? Look, it's my favourite white, and it is our number one white, and it is our number one white for a reason. So let me just pop it here. There we go. So crisp white has, when you look at, so the best way to describe it, I guess you could say, is whites start out as brilliant white, which is our stock standard white in the can. And for example, if we're talking about, yeah, thanks Janine, fantastic. Yeah, we don't want it to look coastal, completely understand, as we are in a rural area. Try and get my words out. So crisp white is, as I said, when we look at what makes whites white. So brilliant white, stock standard white, what makes it really lovely and white is the high amount of titanium dioxide that goes into, you know, when they make the paint, if you like. And then from there, you go and select a white, perhaps off our colour wall, and then they start to inject tint into that white base to create the variances of white. And, you know, some of the whites have things like black, you might find black ochre, a dash of red, etc. And, you know, you can, and even blues, etc. So they give you slightly different undertones. Crisp white has a tint that's called raw umber. Now, when you look at it, it sort of in the tint canister, it's a murky brown. It looks very, it's uninviting. It's not the sort of colour that I'd go and put on my walls, put it that way. However, when it's mixed in with brilliant white, it creates the most beautiful white that has a very soft glow to it. And it works really, really well in all environments, because some whites look better in spaces that have a lot of natural light, and you know, and some whites look better in spaces that lack light, and that tends to be sort of more of that warmer white in those areas. However, crisp white works really well in all areas. So Janine, I would recommend having a look at crisp white as well. It's not going to give you this coastal sort of feel because of what else you're sort of injecting and the other elements that you have within your space. But it would certainly be well worth having a look. Look, most of those colours are available on our Taubmans colour wall. Have to think about the words. And you can grab yourself, you know, if you went down to Bunnings, for example, you can grab yourself one of our, you can grab yourself some colour chips, or you can also, as well, we do have a fantastic brochure which is called our Whites and Neutrals, and it has some, let me just make sure you can see that it has some amazing whites, you know, varying from a cool white to a neutral white to a warm white. So there should be, you should be able to see most of the whites that we've mentioned tonight in here as well. But if you've got any further questions, Janine, please pop something else into the feed. I'll be very happy to assist you. Thanks very much. Okay, so hi Tracy, thank you very much for joining us this evening. You're saying hi there. I'm building a new small home and the style is coastal luxe, minimalist, inviting, calm resort, neutral vibe. Love it. I'm really torn between a vibrant white and a warm white. I don't want any yellow, grey or blues to be cast, but I need it to look spacious and vibrant. I have light oak floors and a white and gold decor style with lots of textured furnishings. Thank you. Okay, so if you're saying, so I'm picking up here, we've got a small home. You're wanting to use a white that doesn't have any yellow, grey or blue, etc. to it. And you need it to look spacious. So there's a couple of things here, and this also comes to the application of where you're going to put the colours. So I talked about this last week. So when you've got a space that's smaller and you're wanting to create the illusion of more space and having that space looking larger, you can do what's very much on trend at the moment is a thing called color drenching. And so they're using the same color, and this applies to whites, that's why I'm going to talk about it. The same color, using it on your ceiling, on your walls, and on your doors and trims, because what ordinarily happens is when you have a ceiling, say in a bright white, and then you have your walls perhaps in a let's just say more of a warm white, just for example, the eye stops where the color breaks. And so it doesn't mean to do it, but what it does is it looks around the space and it goes, okay, it looks around, sorry, I'm looking at what you're just saying. Yeah, it's for the walls and trims. Thanks, Tracy. But it looks around the space and you can see how how small or how large the space is when you have the same color up and over and on all surfaces, but using the applicable paint for the area. It tends to open up the space and create the illusion of more space. Now you're just saying it's for the walls and trims, no worries at all. So if you're wanting, I mean, you can use the white on your ceiling as well, as I've just explained, to create that illusion of more space. So you could certainly have a look at, there's a wonderful color here called Alpine Snow, which is a fantastic white. So when you break whites, or when you look at whites, I tend to put them into 3 categories. So you have what's called a warm white, which tends to have more of that creamy sort of warmth to it. Then you have more of a cooler white, which tends to have, you could almost say, that bluey sort of undertone. And then you have what's called a neutral style white. Believe it or not, a neutral, colors that sit within, or whites and greys in particular, that sit more into that neutral sort of space, have a very soft, very, very soft, minimal sort of green undertone. You're probably thinking, I don't want a white with a green undertone, but I'm just explaining the difference or the variances of white. So you could have a look at Alpine Snow. It's a very soft, beautiful, neutral style white. It's going to give you that luxe vibe. And you know, if you use it on all surfaces, it's going to create the illusion of more space. So you can use, and I would recommend using a ceiling white. It's a flat paint. It's designed to stop glancing light, and it's also designed to hide any imperfections. For your walls, you could use something like Taubmans Endure in a low sheen. And then for your doors and trims, I would be recommending using a water-based enamel. And the reason being I'm saying water-based is it's going to be non-yellowing and it's going to stay true to the color that you tint it. Ordinarily, traditional oil-based tend to golden up and you end up with, you know, different colored trims as opposed to your walls. So water-based is the way to go. So something like a water-based enamel, you can tint that up. You can have that in a semi-gloss or gloss finish, depending on what you prefer, and it can look fantastic. So I'd have a look at that. I'd also have a look at crisp white. As I was talking about it before, it is our #1 white. It is a beautiful white, very adaptable in all spaces. And another white that I would also suggest having a look at, let me just have a look here. For something we don't want any. You could also look at something like cotton sheets is another lovely white that's going to, again, work in well with your coastal vibe that you are creating. Sorry, I've got my head down. I'm looking at colours here. So either of those should work a treat. What I would recommend doing though is getting yourself, so you can start your journey and say, you know, go into Bunnings, have a look at the colour wall, and then, you know, grab the colour chips, have a look at those, and find the white that appeals to you. The best way to view your white is to grab a brilliant white colour chip off the wall, which, as I've talked about earlier, is stock standard white. And then you can place your the other white colour chips up against it. Now, the reason I say to put it against a brilliant white colour chip is you'll be able to see the undertone of the colour. Or you can all go pre-prepared, taking a piece of white computer paper with you, fold it in half, and then put your colour chips up against that again as well. And that's also going to allow you to see the undertone of the white. I don't recommend putting all of your whites together on top of each other. It's very hard to see sort of what undertone it has. And then I would recommend getting a sample pot of the color that you desire. You know, when our paint comes into Bunnings, and I'm using Bunnings as an example, it comes onto pallets. And in between each layer of paint, in between each layer of paint, we have what's called pallet liners, large big pieces of cardboard. I would recommend grabbing one of those, asking a friendly paint team member if you can have one, cutting yourself a piece of cardboard. You're wanting to have a piece that is 1 meter by 1 meter square, putting 3 coats of your color that you've chosen via your sample pot on, you know, waiting for each, allowing drying time in between each coat. Once it's dry, test it in a couple of areas. Thanks, Natasha. I'll talk about that in a moment. You have your wall, and then you have your floor, and putting your sample pot up against the, I've gone completely off track. Putting your sample piece, not sample pot, of cardboard up against the wall there, so it's touching the floor. Now, what you can do when you do that is having a look at the color in natural light, seeing how it's going to work within your space, but also having a look of an evening with artificial lighting on, because color tends to change. So you want to ensure that you're seeing the color that you're looking at in all, you know, times of day, so to speak, so you can see how it's going to work and perform in your environment as well. Here's your wall, here's your ceiling, putting your piece of sample card that you have created up against the ceiling on your wall here, and again looking at it in natural light, but also when you've got the evening light on, your artificial lighting, just to see how it works. Because if you've got things like timber flooring, let's just say something like a what am I talking about? A pine. So let's just say colonial pine flooring, for example, something that's quite yellow. You know, different times of day against your white can look a lot warmer than what you may anticipate. And if you've got something like a red leather lounge, I use this analogy all the time, at certain times of day as well, your walls can look slightly pink. So it's really important to understand how that color that you're choosing is going to work for you in your space. So a sample pot is the best way to do that. And thank you, Natasha, for bringing something very important up. Natasha said, please note, if you have trims already painted in oil-based enamel, you must use an oil-based enamel on top. You can, that's exactly right. You can use an oil-based enamel on top, or you can actually use a product called 3-in-1. So you do what's called a metho test. And I'd recommend grabbing a dark rag or an old dark t-shirt, putting some methylated spirits on, rubbing onto your skirtings, architraves, door, and then having a look at the cloth. If the paint's coming off, it is water-based enamel already on there. So you've got a water-based coating on there. If the paint is shining up, glossing, you know, like it's almost like you're polishing and it's shining up, it is oil-based. And so for an oil-based enamel that's existing on your doors and trims, yes, you could sand it right back, or you can use a primer sealer undercoat, something that we have, which is called Taubmans 3-in-1. You can put a coat of that on, which is going to aid as a binding coat, and then you can put your water-based enamel on top. So that just takes away that need to reuse something like an oil-based enamel on top. It's fantastic. I mean, oil-based will give you that beautiful, shiny, glossy finish. A water-based will still give you a glossy finish, but oil-based tends to be that little bit shinier. But you know, some of the downsides with an oil-based enamel are that longer drying time, and then the VOCs, which are the volatile organic compounds, so that smell that's emitted as the paint's drying. But yeah, so thank you very much for bringing that to our attention, Natasha, and thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, what else do I have? I hope that's helped you, Tracy. If you, thanks so much. I'm excited. That's brilliant. That's wonderful to hear. If you've got any further questions, pop something else into our feed, or as your project is progressing, you're welcome to come back and visit us on here, or send us a DM, and I can certainly assist you further. Thank you. All right, let me see what else I have here this evening. Oops, I've got that many. I've got a mouse there. I've got a mouse here. I'm picking up the wrong mouse. It's just not happening. Let me see. Okay, so... okay, Jennifer, thank you very much for joining us. So, selling my 50-year-old home in the next few months, does it really need to be white to attract most buyers, or can I throw in some black walls that I actually see in real estate advertising brochures, or other color to help it stand out from the pack? That's a really good question, and it just depends. Look, from my experience, if you look at it like this, if you keep it white and rather neutral, you're creating that blank canvas for your next buyer, and you open up, I guess, more opportunity for buyers that are, wanting to move in. For example, some buyers will walk in and go, let's just say you had a red kitchen, or you're renovating, you're putting a red splash back in. Some buyers may walk in and go, I personally don't like red, and then they sort of, don't look any further. So it just depends. I guess we've always gone for that sort of white, neutral sort of space look and feel on the walls, because it's that blank canvas. It allows that next buyer that's going to come into the space to, visualize their furniture, etc. in the space. That's my opinion. My husband and I have renovated quite a few houses, and everyone laughs at me because I talk about color, and then when it comes to my own home, knowing that we're going to sell it, I tend to keep it rather conservative with the color choices that I put on my walls for that purpose, so that I know that it's going to appeal, to the masses, so to speak. But I'm with you. I have seen on real estate as well, the use of dark walls, etc. So, you can look at it like that as well. A dark wall or a black wall is, if you're looking at using different colors per se, like black is still that neutral sort of vibe. So I guess it depends on how much you're going to put in there, etc. I'd be having a look at what else is happening around your area, and even talk to your real estate agent and just get a vibe and get a feel for what people are sort of looking for. But I hope that helps. I've kind of answered it. I've kind of said, yeah, white tends to be a very easy, adaptable sort of color for when you're selling. That's just my opinion though. I hope that helps. Thanks. Hilly, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So you have written, I have June colour cladding on my shed, a surf mist roof and garage door, gutters are surf mist, windows are Dover white. Funny to talk about crisp white because I just bought that this afternoon for the fascia. Do you think I should paint the top board fascia crisp white or go with the same colour on the garage door surf mist? Okay, so given that you could do crisp white for sure. And it's just going to give you a lovely softness and variance. I'm just going to get crisp white up and put it against surf mist for you so you can see the difference together. You probably already know because you've already bought the colour, but so it is going to give, so here is your surf mist, here is crisp white. So it is going to give you, we're talking about a fascia board. Oh, hang on. Someone else has posted something. So the question just jumped up. Funny to talk about crisp white. I've just bought this afternoon for the fascia. Yeah, I think it would look lovely, and it's going to give you a little bit of definition. And you know what as well, because you've got your windows in Dover white, that's going to also bring that crispness of your window frames sort of up into the fascia as well. So it's going to connect everything together. So I would go for it. I think you're onto a really good colour choice there and a fantastic colour palette. Thank you. Okay, what else do I have here? We're adding, okay, hi Amber, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Hi Fiona, we are adding an extension to our Victorian Heritage House and are trying to confirm exterior colour scheme for the extension. The roof will either be surf mist or shale grey. Do you have any suggestions for exterior colours to match the roof colour? We're also having black windows, so we need to match with both of those. Thanks so much. Okay, so if you're doing an extension, can you just give me a little bit more information, please, Amber? So you're adding an extension to our Victorian Heritage House. What other colours are in that existing dwelling that we need to take into consideration to tie into the extension, if that makes sense? So just let me know a little bit more about what we're working with, and I will be very happy to give you some colour suggestions. Thank you. Hi Rajesh, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So you're saying, hi Fiona, which colours would you recommend for a feature wall in a bedroom and living room with the white colours you recommend? Okay, so it's really lovely to think about when you're thinking about a bedroom, you want to create a space that's quite tranquil and relaxing. And the best colours that will sort of evoke that feeling are greens and blues. So I would start with greens or blues, or even going in between, so into that sort of greeny blue tealy colour, but you can either go quite deep to help to create that relaxed darker space, which is going to help to promote sleep for a feature wall, or you can go a little bit softer. So, and for a white, with the white colour you would recommend, look, I'm going to, let's just say, I guess the white, I can throw some whites at you, but maybe I need to find out a little bit more information. What else exists within the space? So what colour is your carpet? Or if you have carpet, or if you've got flooring, etc. Give me a little bit of an indication of the tone of that. And then also too, I really, when I put together a colour scheme, I take into consideration the colour of your window frames, because that's going to also influence the white that we end up selecting. So if you can please come back to me, give me a little bit more information, I can then pinpoint a white for you, and then I can give you some wonderful suggestions for feature walls for both your bedroom and your living room. Thank you. Oh, wrong mouse again. I need to get rid of that. My goodness. Where am I? What else have we got happening here? Okay, hi Valda, thank you very much for joining us this evening. So your question is best type of paint to paint the bathroom cupboards. Okay, so a little bit more information I need, please. Do you have, what is the substrate that we're painting? When you say bathroom cupboards, are they timber that have been painted? Are they raw timber? Are they like a laminate finish? Just if you can give me a little bit more information, I can then help you with the right product for your project. Thank you. Oh, Jennifer, yeah, thank you. You're very, very welcome. Your agent says white. It seems to be the easiest way is to, you're painting your space white, keeping it open, keeping it light and airy, and then it just appeals to the masses. And I must admit that, we've been doing these live colour sessions for a few years now, and as I like to put it, the love affair with white that we tend to have for both interiors and exteriors just continues. And even though we are going into like the color trends and, you look at what's happening globally, locally, etc., and we are seeing a shift to using more color internally. However, people that are renovating to sell or looking to put their house on the market, white still seems to be the preference. Okay. So, Valda, thank you very much for coming back to me. So you have MDF. Okay, so I'd be recommending that you prime the MDF first with something like Taubmans 3-in-1, and then you could use, as I've talked about this evening, you could use our water-based enamel. It has inbuilt mold inhibitors in the paint, so it's fantastic to use, for example, in an area where we're talking about a bathroom, kitchen, areas where you may experience mold or more sort of moisture. It's going to be a fantastic product. So I'd have a look at that. The choice is yours as to the sheen level that you prefer. But yeah, that would be certainly a suitable product for your project. I hope that helps. All right, what have I got here? So let me just go back to Amber. Thank you. Thanks for coming back to me. You're saying it's a 2-story extension. The existing dwelling is China white, I think, but we'd like a more modern, different extension. So something really different from the existing dwelling. Thank you so much. Okay, so the existing dwelling will stay China white, and we are going to give you some recommendations of colour to work with that. I'm imagining. Just confirm that and I will get on to giving you some colour suggestions. So my time in front of the camera has concluded. However, don't go away. I will be sitting behind the scenes answering further questions, and Amber, I'll come back to you. I'm just going to, and Nicola, thank you very much for your question as well. I will come back to you as well and help you with some colour advice. Just making sure there's nobody else waiting for me. And then Rajesh, if you can come back to me and let me know a little bit more about the other elements within your bedroom, you know, by way of carpet, etc. As I've already mentioned, I'll be very happy to give you some further colour suggestions. Okay, everybody, well, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It has been a great evening. I've talked non-stop, which is fantastic. I really like that. I appreciate the fact that you come here and you ask questions, etc., and you engage with us. That's what this platform is for. So thank you very much again for joining us. We'll be back again next Thursday evening, same time, same place. Until then, everybody, stay safe. And as I always say, happy painting. Thank you very much. Bye.